New York has run out of money, and this is a disaster for the subway.
New York City faces a budget crisis of a historic magnitude. We inherited a deficit larger than any since the Great Recession.
Why don't you fix it?
Years of mismanagement and chronic underbudgeting, alongside a structural imbalance between what New York City sends to the state and what we receive in return.
So what are you going to do?
Have taken a toll. We cannot close this deficit with savings alone. We need new revenue. And we need a structural reset in our relationship with the state. That is the only way to meet our legal obligation to pass a balanced budget, and to do so without imposing a financial burden onto the backs of working people. I'm glad to partner with Speaker Menon as we call upon Albany and deliver a balanced budget.
This isn't gonna happen.
Together, we are extending the executive budget deadline from this coming Friday until May 12th.
Just so you understand, to balance out the high spending, they need more money from somebody else. Meanwhile, city services like police and the subway are imploding.
The executive budget deadline from this coming Friday until May 12th, because the crisis
Where'd the money
of the scale cannot be solved without state action. I want to be clear.
What did you do with it?
We are not simply asking others to act. New York City is doing our part. We are committed to governing with the fiscal responsibility this moment demands. Speaker Menon and I have already identified meaningful savings.
Like what?
And we will continue that work carefully, deliberately, and without cutting the services that New Yorkers rely on.
Where are the savings coming from?
But we cannot do it alone. That is why we are standing together this morning, to underscore what is at stake and to call on Albany to deliver additional revenue.
But they said they're not going to cut the services New Yorkers rely on, and look what's happening to the subway.
Train riders not happy to hear about a possible third straight summer of shutdown.
Summer shutdown.
The MTA is looking to make upgrades that would disrupt service between Queens and Brooklyn in May. But there's
no one can get from Queens to Brooklyn
into the summer. And some commuters say they can't go through this again. So what does the head of the MTA have to say?
Attention to detail is key for the owners of Little Tiffin, a Thai restaurant steps away from the Greenpoint Avenue G-train stop.
They're going out of business.
One thing they can't control, though, closures along the line planned for this summer.
We worry about our crew getting home at night, getting to the restaurant in the morning, and it just really impacts the time that they need to get there.
Brooklyn Borough President Antonio Reynoso and Councilmember Lincoln Ressler were joined by Brooklyn business owners Tuesday to decry plans to do repair work on the G-train after a brutal months-long shutdown in 2024. The local leaders say the MTA warned them there will be 10 full weekend closures between May 30th and September 12th.
And that's just what they're saying now. What do you think's going to happen when they start doing the work and run out of money and then realize, it's going to take longer?
As well as in December. They're asking to restrict work to just weeknights.
And when the G train is shut down, nobody comes to Greenpoint. They just won't make the trip. They're not getting on a shuttle bus that's going to be stuck in traffic, that runs too infrequently, that is not a reliable way to get around. It just won't work.
Rachel Despo owns the Awoke Vintage store next to the
these stores
Nassau
are
Avenue
done.
stop.
To lose 40% of our only profitable time during the year will be beyond a devastating hit.
Weeknight closures have already
crazy.
begun on Church Avenue bound G trains until Friday, May 5th.
I thought this was the city that never sleeps, but it looks like the subway's going to be sleeping between 9:30 and 5 a.m. But did you hear what that one council member said? He said that the buses don't run correctly, and he's complaining about the subway, which doesn't run correctly. And as you're about to see, he might not understand why this is happening.
The G train is closed again. When the G train shut down, the best way to get around is a city bike. But to bike from Greenpoint to downtown Brooklyn can cost $7, $8, even $10. It's just too much. For 5 years in a row, City Bike has jacked up its fees every single year. The cost of a City Bike shouldn't be a penny more than it takes to ride a subway or a bus. And we've introduced legislation to mandate exactly that, to ensure that it's $3 to ride your City Bike, whether you're biking to Crown Heights, to Greenpoint, to Williamsburg, wherever you may be going. City Bike.
So while the subway, which has failed at operating sustainably, shuts down because not enough people pay for it, here we are chastising City Bike for doing what it needs to do to stay in business and operate. And it's the only transportation option we have, and we want to destroy it like the subway? Why not just make the subway better? By arresting the criminals who are constantly stealing from it. By the way, those criminals, their activities in the subway are up, even though service is down.
I want you to take a look now at video police release of the people they now want to find. You can see them there. The group is entering a train station, some jumping turnstiles, other going under them.
Look at this.
Most of them appear to be wearing masks or partial face coverings. Police say they're trying to identify 6 people in this video. Now, investigators, they tell us the first attack happened on Friday, April 10th.
They're going after
around
people.
1:30 in the morning on a northbound L train heading towards this station here. Then, about 20 minutes later, police say the same group targeted another man on this same train line near Bushwick Avenue.
And we wonder why the subway's got all kinds of problems. People are scared to ride the subway. It relies on other people's money, and other people don't want to pay for it anymore.
Again and again and again and again, the MTA shuts down our
he doesn't seem to know why.
It's not right.
A subway line already notorious for service problems could be facing even more disruptions.
The MTA told them last week it's considering another round of service suspensions to finish installing communications-based train control, or
without
CBTC.
that, trains don't work.
They told us a year ago, 2 years ago, it would be done.
Right.
This last year, we have more closures, and now we have more closures.
They've announced 10 more weekend closures through the end of this year, which will get us to 19 weekend closures overall in 2026.
So these people, they're upset when something costs more than it used to. They want everything to be affordable. They also want it to work. And in a city that has pitted itself against the middle class, that's impossible.
That's nearly 40% of weekends without G-Train service.
Yeah.
The MTA is acknowledging more work needs to be done, but would not confirm details on closures, only saying that they are still being finalized. But we learned one of the biggest reasons for the added work is what crews found inside the tunnel connecting Brooklyn and Queens.
It turns out that tunnel under Newtown Creek between Greenpoint and Long Island City needs a lot more work than was originally thought. So that is the reason why we are having to do extra weekend shutdowns.
Right. So the subway's going to collapse if they don't fix it. Yet they're all upset. They want it to stay open. It's almost like these politicians would be happy if people were using the subway as it was falling down around them. I guess it kind of is if you look at it. But if New York City wasn't wasting all the money that it brings in, wouldn't it have money to fix things like the subway?
The city's budget battle is intensifying as Mayor Mamdani calls for a new way to tax the rich. As political reporter Marcia Kramer explains, Governor Hochul is slamming the door on that idea.
Large cutouts of the New York Knicks starting lineup in the Eastern Conference playoffs filled the rotunda at City Hall, only steps away from where Mayor Mamdani and Council Speaker Julie Menon
were
seeking to dunk their budget ball with a new way to tax the rich.
Wow.
They want the state to reduce something called the Pass-Through Equity Tax Credit, PTET.
So they're going to tax the basketball team.
It's essentially a loophole that allows high-income earners to reduce their federal tax burden.
Even though Council Speaker Julie Menon joined the mayor in calling for
she looks like she's being held hostage.
Which could mean another $1 billion to help close the city's budget gap. Governor Hochul said the pair had fouled out.
It's not happening. It's not happening. We're not changing PTET.
Hochul said she'd already found over $4 billion in state aid to the city, and that Mamdani and Menon have a spending problem.
Yeah, and that's the thing. They get so much money from the state already. It's not like New York City is some self-sufficient example of fiscal responsibility, and for some reason we lost all of our money. No.
This issue will destroy New York City. We're getting 10,000 migrants a month.
And as much as the mayor says the city's money problems aren't his problem, he says he wants to double down on being a sanctuary city, which means we're going to keep spending lots of money whether we like it or not.
And we've encouraged the speaker and the mayor to do what every other city has to do, is look at your expenses. What is growing exponentially? They have programs that are growing not 4% a year, but 4% a month.
Yeah, that's the housing voucher program.
They have to do what every other city's doing.
Budget
just stop
watchdogs
spending.
agree with the governor. Instead of trying to tax their way out of their budget problems, they should stop spending so much.
Right-size spending. Stop spending on programs that don't help New Yorkers. We've increased spending $16 billion more than inflation over the last 10 years.
Despite Hochul's reluctance, the mayor still wants more state aid, even if he were to actually get this new tax.
Is this the last thing that you need from Albany? Like if Albany grants you this, will be the last ask?
What do you think he's going to say? Are you done asking for money? If we give you this, is that it? And you're going to be fine?
We cannot proceed with balancing that budget without the additional revenue and cost shifts from Albany.
That sounds like
Marcia,
a no.
You know, the mayor is supposed to unveil a new budget proposal in just a few days, May 1st. Is he going to meet that deadline?
Well,
No.
he and the city council speaker said that they were going to pass a resolution to extend the deadline to May 12th in the hope
they don't want people to know.
Come up with extra taxes, but doesn't look that way right now.
All right, so I know from your reporting today that I find very interesting, the governor had another surprise for the mayor today.
Oh, another surprise
for the mayor. She's agreed to meet with Ken Griffin. He's a hedge fund billionaire who the mayor has made the poster boy for his plan to get a pied-à-terre tax.
Oh, yeah. When the mayor was attacking rich people standing in front of a luxurious mansion, the CEO of this company said, you know what, I might need to pull my $6 billion plan to redevelop buildings in New York. And now the mayor and the governor have to go on an apology tour. What do you think that's going to be like?
He was mentioned in a video by Mayor Zora Mamdani, if you may recall, while pushing the proposed pied-à-terre tax.
Yeah.
This is
here's the video.
Fee on luxury properties worth more than $5 million, whose owners do not live full-time in the city. Like for this penthouse, which hedge fund CEO Ken Griffin bought for $238 million.
Yeah, good morning, Charlene. Ken Griffin called that video a personal attack, and now he will be meeting with Governor Kathy Hochul here outside of her office on the east side to talk about the future direction of New York. This meeting was previously scheduled, though, before that video came out.
But here's the other thing. What type of future direction for the city do you think we have? We have a mayor who was elected with a mandate to tax other people and give that money to the people who voted for him. How does he fulfill that mandate, this redistribution mandate, if he doesn't do the thing that he's talking about doing in the video and every time he gets a microphone raising taxes? How does he do it? But just before we continue, here's something that will have you looking at your rain jacket a little bit differently. Most waterproof jackets, the ones from big outdoor brands, the ones you've been wearing for years, are coated with something called PFAS. They call them forever chemicals because they don't break down, not in the environment, not in your body, never. PFAS are what make the water beat up and roll off your jacket, that satisfying moment where rain hits the fabric and slides off. That's a toxic chemical doing its job, and then it does its other job, which is to poison you slowly. That's why I want to tell you about the Bearskin Heavy Storm Rain Jacket. It's rated to 20,000 millimeters waterproof. That's expedition grade, the same rating you'd find on serious mountain gear. But it uses zero PFAS forever chemicals, none. No forever chemicals in the membrane, the coating, or the waterproof treatment. That's a 20,000 millimeter waterproof rating without the poison, and a rain jacket innovation you need to try out. On top of that, it packs into its own pocket so you can stash it in your bag, your truck, your golf bag. It's always there when the weather turns. Plus, it even zips into the bearskin hoodie. This is really cool for a full 3-in-1 warm and waterproof system. Tapped seams, sealed zippers, the works. It's actually really warm and wind resistant, waterproof, everything you need. Right now, Bearskin is running 60% off the Heavy Storm Rain Jacket with free shipping. Here's what you need to do. Text CASH to 36912. That's CASH to 36912, and they'll send you a link to grab one of these at 60% off. Stop wearing a rain jacket that poisons you while it protects you from the rain. Get a Bearskin Heavy Storm Rain Jacket today when you text CASH to 36912. That's CASH to 36912. They'll send you a link to get one 60% off. Now let's get back to the video.
And again, it is expected he will discuss that video because that is about Governor Hochul's proposed tax on second homes that are worth more than $5 million, known as the pied-à-terre tax. Now again, Mayor Mamdani called him out very directly in that video, as well as his home, and he called it a personal attack, Griffin, of Mamdani. Now, Mamdani is also meeting with business leaders in New York this week, as he is pleading for more money from state lawmakers as well to close the city's $5 million budget gap.
$5 billion.
He'll be meeting with Bank of America CEO Brian Moynihan this afternoon after he met with Chobani CEO Hamdi Ulukaya on Monday. So as for that meeting with...
What are they going to talk about in these meetings? His whole agenda is to be a socialist who raises taxes. You got to understand something. If you're a business owner, you own private property, you create jobs, you do this without the help of the government, that's capitalism, which is the antithesis of communism. To a communist, You having something that somebody else doesn't have is wrong. How can these business owners expect to have a productive conversation with the mayor when they are inherently wrong from his moral standpoint as somebody who's a socialist and a communist? How are they going to have a productive conversation with somebody who looks at them and thinks that they deserve what he was elected to do?
But earlier this week, the plan to meet with the CEO was arranged months before the mayor's viral video. But still, Griffin, whose company has planned to build an office tower at 350 Park Avenue, spoke about this meeting while at an investment conference in Oslo this week.
We'll talk about our future direction in New York. Here's the real question. Is New York going to put their fiscal house in order and run itself from a position of a strong government that's pro-business? Or are they looking to play, why do the Americans think we can do socialism?
Yeah.
We have none of that in our DNA, and we're just going to screw it up.
I think the writing is on the wall here. We are not only going to do socialism, we are going full on into it. And that's exactly what he's afraid of, what he doesn't want to happen. Now, anybody with a brain doesn't want that to happen. But if it is your ideology that capitalism is wrong and evil, you look at people like this billionaire and you say, this is wrong. It's wrong that he exists, even though he's created jobs, even though he's going to spend $6 billion redeveloping buildings in New York City. He's going to hire a whole bunch of people. That's not good enough. The government doesn't have the money to do that. He's not taxing anyone to do that either. He's selling products and services that bring in that money, which allow his company to then go out and create jobs. It's the opposite of what the government's doing. He should be commended.
New York City Mayor Zohran Mamdani is continuing his push to soak the rich. He wants Governor Hochul to kill a tax credit that wealthy New Yorkers use, but a lot of those wealthy New Yorkers are also small, middle-class business people. Hochul quickly shot down the idea. Listen to what John Katsimatidis had to say about Mamdani earlier.
I said to him, you're on the edge of disaster or you're on the edge of success. If you, I guess, annoy S&P or Moody's, guess what? We're going to lose. But New York City loses. New York State loses. We lose. And I don't want to lose New York City.
And by the way,
you can't destroy the real estate industry because in London, it's been destroyed already. It's been destroyed in London by the socialists. And if you do the same thing in New York City, that is a disaster.
Okay, this is not fake news. The London housing market has crashed, and now Mamdani wants to follow. A wave of taxes on second homes in the British capital has already cooled what was once a red-hot market. Wow, property values are down 20% over 10 years. Oh, that's not good. Look at that. Wealthy buyers pulled back. Landlords jumped ship. There's been an exodus, which we keep being told isn't going to happen. We keep being told that, oh, the rich, they're not going anywhere. You regularly see people that bought a couple of years ago selling now and losing money. Ooh, that's really bad. Look at this. Sales transactions are down 31.2% year over year. The steepest decline. Wow, this is crazy. So they're basically destroying their housing market. There goes the dream of owning a home and getting ahead. That's a bad idea. You don't want to own something that's getting its value destroyed. And that's what people are really afraid is going to start happening in New York. And this all started when they started going after the rich people. Not that they can't afford it, but once you attack one part of the population for having more money than another part of the population because you believe in communism, they leave. And what are you left with? Nothing.
Rosanna Scotto, who knows New York better than the back of her hand, joins me now on this. Well, a lot of people have been talking to him. I mean, John is really, and I mean this, he's bent over backwards, first of all, trying to get into him and then trying to turn him around, even though a lot of what Mamdani's proposing could hurt him as a businessman.
So what's interesting is I was speaking to somebody in city government the other day, and he told me that the mayor has been talked to by several people telling him to cut out the social media rhetoric. What he did the other day on tax day, he stood in front of Citadel founder Ken Griffin's private home and just gleefully talked about taxing the rich. Well, it was a little dangerous. Put Ken Griffith in a very precarious situation for his safety. His COO, Gerald Beeson, sent out a memo to all the staff at Citadel and said this was shameless and reckless, and then hinted that they might stop production in New York.
Now, why do you want to do that? If you're a city that relies on other people's money, why do you want to get rid of those people? If anything, just hold the line where you're at and make some adjustments to what you want to spend money on so that you don't get rid of the golden goose so that it can keep laying eggs and keep, afloat. But it doesn't look like they want to do that. In fact, it actually looks like they want to do something worse here.
I think you know this. Ken Griffin is in the process of erecting one of the biggest skyscrapers in Midtown Manhattan. Yeah. It's a $6 billion development.
They're going to stop.
It's going to create thousands of real estate jobs, thousands of high-paying finance jobs, and talk about construction jobs. Ken Griffin, by the way, he has pulled up his roots from Chicago because he did not like the way the mayor was handling the city.
So he's already left Chicago where you got Brandon Johnson, and now he's here stuck with Mamdani, and he's like, what am I gonna do? I also think it's a little rich that these billionaires, they wait until after the socialist gets elected to say something about it. They wait until it's too late to come out and say, oh, hey, maybe this is not a good idea. But I understand they're already the enemy in New York. They want to keep quiet until they absolutely have to do something. And when somebody like that is talking about what a disaster things are, they're already thinking of what they're going to do next. And sticking around is unlikely to be part of it, especially if they're under attack.
Yeah. And he was there for 30 years. He pulled up his business, he pulled up his home, and hightailed it to Miami.
But the key is Mamdani so invested in this class warfare that no matter who talks to him, he's going to continue with it because he knows that Governor Hochul, as much as she is afraid of what he's talking about, needs his voters in order to get reelected.
She needs his voters, and she needs Ken Griffin's dollars, okay?
Can't have
she
both.
Needs that to keep New York afloat. She needs it to keep her own campaign.
Doesn't she care more about getting reelected?
Well, she needs it to keep her own campaign afloat. So tomorrow, there are reports that Ken Griffin is bypassing Mayor Mamdani, sitting down with Governor Hochul. And I think he's going to read her the Riot Act because this guy can pull up his roots. He's done it before. He did it in Chicago. He could possibly do it in New York.
Listen, if that happens, if somebody big leaves the city, who's going to take their place? Is somebody else going to come along and say, I'm going to fill that wealth gap and show up when we're talking about wealth taxes and taking everything that people work for? Who's going to come here and invest? You would almost be stupid to come to New York right now and put money that you worked hard for into anything here, knowing that you're just going to be in the wrong for doing it, because that's the thing that a lot of people aren't understanding about the mayor. Some people say, oh, the mayor's an idiot. Oh, he's stupid. I don't think it's any of that. I think that he firmly believes that socialism is the way forward. He was taught that. He believes it. That is his ideology. And to him, when he looks at somebody who's rich and has something that somebody else doesn't have, he says that's a bad thing. That should be taxed to level the playing field. That way other people can have more. And he truly believes this, which is why he's going so hard after it. To him, a rich person leaving the city, that doesn't even bother him because you know what? They're the problem anyways. What do you think about that? I'll see you in the next video.